Hey everybody! Welcome to another episode of Superhero Deep Dive. I am your host Jason and I have a good episode scheduled for you today. Now, this one is actually pretty interesting because I have to do a retraction with this episode in regards to some previous statements. So, let me get into that right after my normal disclaimers. The information pulled with this episode is from different sources across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. Also, if you ever want to follow me on Twitch, which I'm hardly ever on, but I am trying to change that soon, Twitter or Instagram, you can catch me under Superhero Deep Dive or Super Deep Dive and use the hashtag Superhero Deep Dive. And on Twitch on Twitter and Instagram, I post superhero memes throughout the week, so that's a lot of fun. Feel free to catch those because they are quite funny. And if you ever wanted to email me, you can email me directly at b4itall, so b4itall at yahoo.com. Let's see, what else is there? You can catch me on YouTube. I upload a video slideshow with this podcast every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So welcome. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that stuff. I would really, really, really enjoy building that audience as well. And you can also catch me on Outworld Fleet Radio every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the day at www.un-con-ventional.com/radio. Whew. Okay, so I got that piece of business done. Now it's time for the retraction. This week I am covering Werewolf by Night. I had originally stated in some previous episodes, and I couldn't tell you which ones because I talk a lot and I don't keep track of everything. But I did mention Werewolf by Night in a future episode, and I believe I mentioned that it was John Jameson, J. Jonah Jameson's son. That is not accurate, and I apologize for that. John Jameson, who is in fact J. Jonah Jameson's son, becomes Man-Wolf, who I may or may not cover in a future episode, but because I kept advertising Werewolf by Night, I am covering him this week, even though I had originally intended it to be Man-Wolf. But, you know, if I say something, I'm going to follow through with it. So I'm following through. We're covering Werewolf by Night. He's actually got a very rich history. And I've got a very nice cup of coffee. So let's see if we can get into it. All right. Werewolf by Night is Marvel's premier werewolf. His real name is Jack Russell, just like the Terrier. And while reports of lycanthropy, which is shape-shifting into a werewolf, in the Russoff line stretch back many centuries, the first confirmed manifestation is Grigory Russoff in 1795. Dracula slew Grigory's wife Louisa after he refused to acknowledge Dracula's primacy upon his return to Transylvania. Grigory then ambushed and destroyed Dracula, but was mutated into a werewolf by Lydia, a werewolf formerly imprisoned by the vampire lord. Grigory took a second wife, but accounts vary as to why lycanthropy failed to pass to his descendants. Sometime prior to May 1930, Grigory's descendant, Gregor, obtained the legendary Darkhold scrolls. This is tying into WandaVision, right? Under a full moon triggered the Dorman curse, mutating Gregor into a werewolf. Gregor further transcribed much of the Darkhold into Grigory's diary, essentially creating a Darkhold copy, which he used as his own diary. Gregor sold part of his estate, including Wundagore Mountain, which, if you aren't aware, is where Scarlet Witch grew up. And it's home to the High Evolutionary and his, I believe, his Animen or Y-Men, something like that. to Jonathan Drew, who shared it with partner Herbert Wyndham, who is the future High Evolutionary. The Rusoff werewolf slew Jonathan's wife, Miriam, and Wyndham designed a suit of silver-coated armor to protect himself, enabling Rusoff's capture. Why can't I read tonight? Rusoff stayed with the evolutionary, who kept the werewolf safely contained for decades. Rusoff eventually used the Darkhold to summon Chthon to cure him, and the Elder God nearly broke through the earthly plane. But Magnus the Sorcerer forced Rusoff to banish Chthon, who lashed out with a parting blast that slew Gregor. Despite contrary accounts, the Gregor Rusoff who stayed with the High Evolutionary seems to have been the grandfather or great-grandfather of Jack Russell. Having the same name and presumably using the same diary contributed to earlier confusion. It would seem more likely that the elder Gregor was one who transcribed the Darkhold into the diary. Okay, so that's a lot of his, not even Jack Russell's backstory. That's just the backstory with the lycanthropy. And that's just an excuse for me to get another sip of coffee. Okay, so decades later, another Gregor Rusoff married Laura, the former girlfriend of his younger brother Philip. Jacob, later Jack, was born in Medias, Transylvania, soon after, and Laura was pregnant with Lisa within 2 years of marriage. However, when lightning struck Rusoff's Transylvanian castle during a full moon, the werewolf Gregor escaped confinement and began attacking villagers. They tracked down and killed Rusoff with silver bullets. Gregor's mother, Maria, was stoned and driven from the village, living with gypsies and learning magic. After Gregor's death, Laura found Philip, who had moved to Los Angeles and anglicized his name to Russell. And they married after a year. Jack and Lisa remain unaware of Philip's past, and approximately 15 years later, the criminal organization known as the Committee learned of Gregor's curse and blackmailed Philip, threatening to reveal his secrets. To protect Laura's name, Philip paid them, but had second thoughts and canceled payment, causing the Committee to send Max Grant to kill Laura. Critically injured in a car crash on Jack's 18th birthday, Laura barely had time to tell Jack about his true father and the curse of the werewolf, making Jack promise not to harm Philip before dying. Having inherited lycanthropy the night before, he inherited lycanthropy the night before. Say what? Alright, Jack slew Grant, but wrongly blamed Philip for some time. Laura left Castle Rusoff in Jack's name, but Philip, the trustee, sold the castle to Miles Blackgar, who had it moved to an island off the California coast, because moving castles is what we do. Jack battled a motorcycle gang, infecting its members with lycanthropy. So let's just look at lycanthropy as a messed up disease, I guess. I don't know. All right, I had to watch what I said. Jack spent the next few years as a traveler, shape-shifting on the 3 nights of the full moon into a savage werewolf form. He learned of the Darkhold from Nathan and Agatha Timley, who briefly kidnapped the werewolf and met grisly ends. Befriending writer Buck Cowan, Jack sneaked into Blackgar's castle and stole the Darkhold, encountering Miles Blackgar and his daughter Marianne, whose petrifying power slew both Blackgars after fighting off the deformed Cephalos plot to drain his power to stabilize Cephalos' form. Oh no! After fighting off the deformed Cephalos plot, okay, I don't know how to read this. That was written. All right. He fought off some dude. Jack had Father Ramon Joquez translate the Darkhold. The priest died after being possessed by the Darkhold's former custodian, the 12th century mad monk Aelfric, and the indestructible Darkhold vanished. Jack encountered Joshua Kane, who hunted the werewolf, and his brother Luther Kane, who offered to prevent Lisa from mutating into a werewolf in exchange for Jack kidnapping billionaire turned recluse Justin Hepp. And he met mentalist Swami Riva, who sought the werewolf's blood to reveal a treasure map to an ancient sorcerer, Kamen on his bloodstone. Let's see here. The possessing demon Krog and Spider-Man and Moondark the magician. Jack then fought the sonic weapons of Sarnak. His first brush with the criminal organization known as the Committee, who wished to enslave the werewolf. Wow, there's a whole lot of confusion in that paragraph. And I know that I pronounced most of those names wrong. So, sorry, not sorry. Your history's confusing, dude. Alright. After fighting the sociopathic hangman, who is Harlan Kruger, Jack was entranced by Topaz, the familiar of the sorcerer Taboo, who sought the Darkhold, because everyone wants the Darkhold. Taboo had used the tome decades before the grant. I don't know. He gave his son the golden touch, but had lost the book in mid-spell, because that's what you do. You move castles to different islands, and you lose books in the middle of using them. Why not? Because this is America. Alright. Trapping Algon in a mindless state. Lacking the Darkhold, Taboo transferred Philip Russell's mind into Algon. But both Algon and Taboo died, restoring Philip, who explained Laura's death and reconciled with both Jack and Lisa. Traveling to Transylvania alongside Topaz, with whom he had bonded, Jack discovered the Russoff Diary Darkhold copy. The werewolf battled Dracula, and the book was lost in the Alps. Jack and Topaz encountered the Kyphotic Half-Mad before returning to the U.S., and Jack fought the Committee's behemoth robot, and then Ma Mayhem, assisted by werewolf Raymond Coker. How many werewolves are in the Marvel Universe? Jeez, dude. Like, you need to have one or two. And not... Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, joined the newly mutated Tigra, who we've covered in a previous episode, which is probably better sounding than this. Go check it out. And mutated against Hydra. Battled vampires Louis Belsky and Liza Pine. Opposed Ma Mayhem and her ally Baron Thunder, and joined Coker against Lou Hackett, who was a corrupt policeman who could also shapeshift into a werewolf by using a magic ring. The werewolf joined the Frankenstein monster against the Satanic Brotherhood of Baal, who had abducted Lisa, then fought the disfigured Atlas in the Jekyll Hyde-like Deprave. Jack briefly returned to Transylvania following Topaz's psychic summons, because he called him like a dog. He is named after a Jack Russell Terrier, and they called him like a dog. He used gypsy magic to raise zombies to slay the villagers who had driven her off. Maria sacrificed herself to save Jack from her zombies upon learning that he was her grandson. Because, God, Transylvania is just... You know what? A pastor in my church is from Transylvania. He's a great man. So I'm not saying this to all Transylvanians, but for writers talking about Transylvania like this, get your act straight. Get your story straight, because Transylvania sounds like a messed up place. I'm sure it's lovely, though. I'm sure it's awesome, and I'm sure there's a lot of history, and I really like vampire stuff. So anyway, I would dig the history. All right. In Blackguard's castle, the werewolf Topaz and the repentant spirit fragment of Taboo, whatever, dude, battled the necromancer Dr. Glitter Knight. Rule number 1, If your name is Glitter Knight and you work really hard to become a doctor, your first act of business is change your name from Dr. Glitter Knight. There's nothing redeeming about someone named Dr. Glitter Knight. There's nothing, if you're a supervillain, there's nothing threatening. If you're a mystical sorcerer, there's nothing mystical about Glitter Knight. Just stop. Just stop. All right. And it's a necromancer. It's a dude named Glitter Knight is pulling up zombies and stuff. Whatever, dude. Okay. Oh, they battled the necromancer Dr. Glitter Knight, who mutated Lisa Russell into a were-demoness. The process of curing Lisa purged her of the threat of lycanthropy, though she would still pass it on to her children. After battling Morbius, the living vampire, and slaying the demon worshipped by Brad Rangel. Alright. The werewolf was briefly transported to the divided dimension Biphasia by Satanist Choquinzer, and he aided Pangloss against the sorcerer Sardanus. There's some really bad names here. If you're a sorcerer, don't name yourself after a can of fish. If you are trying to be badass, don't call yourself Pangloss. Alright. During a subsequent ski trip, the werewolf nearly slew Buck Cowan, after which he was captured by the committee-paid mercenary known as Moon Knight, who has also been on a previous episode, who's getting a Disney Plus special. Check out those episodes. And check out my previous episode on Moon Knight because it is fun. That one's actually one of my favorite episodes I did. Alright. So Moon Knight, who set him free when he realized Jack's humanity and the committee's intention. The werewolf then joined the Ghost Rider, the Man-Thing, and Morbius, a living vampire, in unwittingly slaying the benevolent alien Starseed, who had intended to cure them all. Alright, let's see here. Alright, the werewolf, Topaz, and others then battled and were nearly driven mad by the ghost of the 19th century black magician Bellaric Marcosa. But they freed the trapped spirits of Marcosa's victims, who destroyed him. And one of the grateful spirit, that of the magician Gideon Blaine, healed Buck. The enigmatic three who were all, the hooded one, the burning snake, and the goat child. An ancient extra-dimensional group who had formerly included Glitter Knight and a fifth member, Fire Eyes. But they probably kicked their asses out because they're terrible names. Sent Jack, Topaz, Raymond Coker, and Brother Voodoo to Haiti, where the werewolf and Fire Eyes destroyed Glitter Knight once and for all. Thank you. In the process, Jack gained control of his werewolf persona, though he still only shapeshifted under moonlight and still lost control during the 3 nights of the full moon. So I kind of dig this so far. All the weird stuff aside, all the weird history aside, you know, he's gotten experience in his werewolf persona enough to be able to control it. Except during the full moon, which makes sense because, you know, that's when the moon's at its fullest, of course, you know, it's shown. So, and, you know, they always say that weird things happen during a full moon, like more babies are born during a full moon and stuff like that. So that would contribute to him having a harder time controlling himself during a full moon. I dig that. Good job on that, Marvel. Good job. You deserve a pat on the back. Alright. The werewolf joined with Iron Man against the Magia's Masked Marauder and his Tri-Ani-Men. And he teamed with Spider-Woman against the mercenary, the Enforcer. Alright, mad scientist Dr. Carl Malice captured and performed scientific experiments on Russell to control him and use him against Spider-Woman. Russell escaped and apprehended Malice. With the aid of Spider-Woman, Russell joined Spider-Man against the Tatterdemalion, a former agent of Sarnak. After being temporarily captured alongside a number of costumed adventurers by the Locksmith and TikTok, terrible name again, Russell began mutating into a more savage and lupine form, which is a wolf-like form. A late effect from Alice's treatment. He fled Satanist Morningstar, who was Schuler Belial, and his left-hand path, who wished to use his blood to mutate into werewolves. Then sought aid from the now human Michael Morbius into controlling his savage self, leading to a battle with the West Coast Avengers. With assistance from Iron Man, he later saved Lisa from Morgan Le Fay's attempt to possess her. He was subsequently mind-controlled into joining the mostly criminal Night Shift by Danson Macabre. Russell was the only member who knew their leader. The Shroud was using the group to oppose other criminals and to prevent them from harming innocents. After encounters with Captain America, the Moon Knight, and the Avengers, the werewolf eventually developed resistance to Macabre's powers and turned on the Night Shift, after which he went solo. After briefly battling the Hulk in the Midwest, Jack contacted his father Gregor's spirit to cure his lycanthropy, but was told that he would die unless he accepted his beast. During the ensuing battle with the religious zealot Silver Dagger and the Brain Eaters, name alert, a cult of werewolves mutated in the past by Russell. Jack fully accepted his wolf self and his persona merged, altering his powers and granting him full control and the best of both selves. Alright. Russell assisted Doctor Strange against the alien possessors, the Night Shift against an LA street gang, and the Ghost Rider against a new group of Brain Eaters. Name alert. Jack narrowly survived a battle with Sabretooth and fought an unidentified Wendigo in Canada. And here's the thing, Wendigos were like malicious spirits that kind of turn people into Wendigos. So they weren't, it didn't always have to be the same person. So good job on that. Russell was captured by a criminal scientist, Nightshade, who used his blood to create the Night Patrol, a group of werewolves in Starksboro, Massachusetts. Captain America also mutated into a werewolf, freed Russell, and led the werewolves to defeat Nightshade's master, Dreadman the Druid, who used the Godstone, which is the former gem of the Man-Wolf, to briefly mutate into the powerful Star-Wolf. The Night Patrol was cured, after which Russell was drawn into a conflict involving the Midnight Suns and was slain by Switchblade, who is the insane Darkhold powered blade. But Jack was revived once Professor Lewis Hastings broke Switchblade's spell. Russell befriended the again pseudo-vampiric and now demon-possessed Morbius, had a vision of advertisements on the moon causing mass insanity, and fought the Lilin Goblins, Mr. Hyde, and the sadist Morphine. Jack also had an affair with Morbius's possessed former girlfriend, Martine Bancroft. Wow. There's a lot there, too. Okay, sorry. I had to get a sip. Okay. Let's keep going because his history is still going. Like, this dude has a rich history. Jack began losing control of the werewolf, locking himself in a cage while under the full moons, and even glimpsing visions of hell as he shapeshifted. From the cult of the Third Moon's dying leader, Walter Clark, Russell learned that the only legendary Wolfblade could control his lupine self. With the aid of Smedley, a mysterious benefactor, Russell recovered all three parts of the Wolfblade, battled the original Wolf Demon in a branch of hell, and completed the puzzle by re-accepting both selves and seemingly regained control. However, after Jack visited friends Freddy and the disfigured Lump, name alert, Smedley sent him to investigate a series of killings in which the evidence pointed to Jack as a killer. As Russell began to mutate further, Smedley said Jack had not been careful enough in his wish to be freed from the wolf demon, and that he must embrace the disease or it would destroy him. Uncertain how to accomplish this, Jack found a confidant in the Lump, who cared for the werewolf as he hid out in the sewers. While Jack's new girlfriend Roxana remained blissfully unaware of his dual existence, the werewolf was tracked down by a pair of detectives, escaping only after they were slain by the cult of the Third Moon. Though Jack's subsequent fate is unknown, he was later seen sensing the arrival of the mystic assassin Hellfire. And that's not with a F, that's with a PH. Word to your mother. Alright. In the Legion of Monsters, Werewolf by Night one-shot, Jack Russell came to Salvage, Alabama, to save a family of law-abiding werewolves from a group of townsfolk led by Cal Escher. Young Rhonda was the only one left in the family after her mother and sister Susie chose death by gun or knife. The girl was drowning her sorrows in Sullivan's bar next to the cemetery when the gang attacked her, revealing her werewolf nature by means of a tarot card, which would be the Moon card, and then trying to kill her. Russell interfered, mutating into the werewolf while Rhonda decided to do the same. After killing the violent gang, Russell and Rhonda left the town, determined to control their afflictions and live their lives without fear. Okay. The Moon Knight rescues Jack from the criminal enterprise wherein samples of his blood are used to temporarily mutate homeless people into pseudo-werewolves, who are then provoked into fighting each other as a spectator sport. Not gonna lie, I know this sounds bad, but that sounds pretty awesome. Just saying. I would never do this. I would never accept this in real life, but in the context of the comic, that sounds pretty awesome. Alright, the Moon Knight frees Jack, who has degenerated into a near mindless feral state from his captors. The werewolf proceeds to go on a rampage, attacking both his tormentors and the Moon Knight, who seduce him before restoring his freedom to him. Okay. The werewolf appears as part of the new Midnight Suns team to hunt down zombies who escaped Armor headquarters and prevent the contagion from spreading. Prior to the team's mission, he records a video, will and testament, telling his sister that he is happy in life. He was given a vaccine developed by Morbius, the living vampire. And in their search for the missing zombie Deadpool, the team battles and kills zombie Menfish and their leader, the Piranha. After battling the Hood's night shift and watching Ally of the Man-Thing seemingly die in a battle against Deadpool, Russell's vaccine fails him and he becomes a zombie too. He then confronts Jennifer Kale. He battles Morbius, who realizes that Jack's werewolf form is not subject to the virus, and Jennifer Kale summons a Moonlight spell to mutate him into the werewolf. Jack is later restored to normal by Morbius, who developed a cure for the zombie virus using Spider-Man's blood and samples of the zombie virus from different realities. Wow. Okay. After the death of Frank Castle, Morbius pieces the Punisher together again and enlists his help in saving monsters from extinction. Jack Russell, the Man-Thing, and the Living Mummy are part of the Legion of Monsters who fight those who would wipe out all monsters. The Punisher aids this group in protecting an underground city that has many innocent sentient monsters. Okay, that happens too. Alright, let's see here. Jack Russell appears among many mystical beings of lupine and feline nature drawn to the headquarters of X-Factor investigations by the imminent birth of the mutant Wolfbane's child. While many of the gathered beings wish to acquire the child for their own ends, Russell seems intent on protecting mother and child. Oh, like he's totally doing Team Jacob. Sorry. Alright. Once the child is born, it is rejected by a shaken Wolfbane due to its vicious feral nature and her own religious beliefs. The cub appears to be caught up in a convergence of the mystic forces seeking it, vanishing explosively from the earth. However, Russell finds the child hiding in a cave and takes it under his care. Deadpool later discovered that Russell had an affair with his wife, Shikla. Deadpool then promptly blew off Jack's head with a blunderbuss, but Shikla revealed that Jack would survive it. Wow. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and we're going to think about this for a bit. Okay, that was a really good sip. This is an excellent cup of coffee. I don't know what I did different, but I'm digging it tonight. So that is Jack Russell, the normal werewolf by night. There is a second werewolf by night as well in the Marvel Universe, named Jake Gomez. His history is much, much less than this. All right. Jake Gomez is a boy of Hopi descent who underwent his first werewolf transformation at the age of 13 due to a curse in the family. He was able to get control over his werewolf form with the help of his grandmother Rora and his sister Molly, where the music helped with controlling his emotions, unlike how Jake's father operated. Jake's first appearance when hunters were hunting rabbits on Hopi tribal lands and fought them off. Rora advised him to be careful in the mission at Life Pharmaceuticals, where he worked in the day due to the government going after teenage superheroes. Jake attacks two vehicles leaving Life Pharmaceuticals and finds that one of them contains the people who have gone missing from the reservation in the past month. He is then confronted by three monstrous figures with cybernetic parts on them. And that's all the information that came up on Jake Gomez. That's cool though. I like the Native American tie into it, because it just kind of help feeds some Native American mythology and lore, which I think is important. You know, I think it's important that we keep some of the different cultures alive in that fashion, because it's not going to be everyone's interest. But if you put it in as little tidbits into stories, then we all gain a little bit more information. So, yeah. But what do you guys think so far? Like, that's a lot of history on Jack Russell, right? He's been everywhere and he's fought with everything. His blood turned Captain America into a werewolf for a while, you know, and I wonder, because Captain America is America's ass, so I wonder how the werewolf looked. Just saying. No, but I think this is really interesting so far. So let me know what you think. Did I miss anything? Oh, God help us if I missed something. There's a lot here that was covered. And you feel free to shoot me a message or write on my wall, send me a DM, whatever you want to do. You can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, which I'm not on Twitch very much, but Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch under Super Deep Dive, and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. Like I said, I also post superhero memes throughout the week on Twitch or on Twitter and Instagram, so catch that. And if there's anything I missed, please feel free to comment and let me know on the video if you're watching on YouTube. I do try to respond to messages, at the very least with a like, but I do normally try to respond to messages as well. It just depends on what's being said, I guess, or what kind of openings I have. But yeah, so let's get into his powers. Jack Russell is a descendant of the mystically altered offshoot of humans known as lycanthropes. During the night of the full moon and the 2 nights surrounding it, he is forced to mutate into a werewolf, a large, powerful form, which is a hybrid of human and wolf, and loses his human intellect. Throughout a series of events, he is also capable of mutating voluntarily outside of the full moon, at which time he remains in control of himself. As a werewolf, Jack gains the proportionate physical advantages of a nearly 7-foot tall wolf. And in this form, he possesses superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, and reflexes. He possesses a superhuman sense of smell, which carries over to his human form. And he has razor-sharp teeth and claws that are able to rend light metals. The werewolf is resistant to many forms of conventional injury and very difficult to kill by conventional means. So think of an animal like Wolverine. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Though he can be severely wounded, he recovers from non-fatal wounds much faster than a human would. He is vulnerable to magic attacks, and like all werewolves, he can be killed by weapons made of silver due to its inherent mystical purity. Whew. Alright, fun facts. The Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night appears in the Superhero Squad show. The episodes This Man Thing, This Monster, and after his girlfriend Ellen is kidnapped by an army of mummies, led by Incantu, the living mummy, on Dracula's behalf, the Werewolf by Night joins forces with the Man-Thing and a dimensionally displaced Iron Man to rescue her. While they succeed in defeating the vampire and the mummies, they learn Ellen had been turned into a vampiress. Taking inspiration from Iron Man, Werewolf by Night, Ellen, and the Man-Thing form the Supernatural Hero Squad to defend their town from future monster attacks. Alright, the Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night also appears in the Ultimate Spider-Man episodes Blade and the Howling Commandos. This version is a member of the Howling Commandos, and Werewolf by Night and the Howling Commandos join forces with former member Blade and Spider-Man to retrieve a powerful Ankh from Dracula. Alright, the Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night appears in Hulk and the Agents of Smash. This version is a member of the Howling Commandos, and in the episode Hulkling Commandos, he and the Howling Commandos are assigned to apprehend the Agents of Smash, only to join forces with them to defeat Dormammu. In the episode Planet Monster Part 2, the Werewolf by Night joins the Howling Commandos in helping the Agents of Smash and the Avengers combat the Supreme Intelligence Forces. Alright, the Werewolf by Night's unnamed grandfather appears in the Days of Future Smash Part 3 Dracula. While operating in 1890, he helps Frankenstein's monster Incantu the Living Mummy and a time-traveling Hulk thwart the leader and Dracula's plans to blanket the earth in darkness and with their gamma furnace. Alright. A Halloween special based on the Jake Gomez incarnation of Werewolf by Night is in development for Disney Plus, and on November 4th, 2021, actor Gael Garcia Bernal was cast as Jake Gomez. So this is looking at a 2022 release, I believe. Super exciting. That's why I wanted to get this out to you. Let's see here. A film adaptation of Werewolf by Night was announced and due to begin filming in 2005. However, no further developments took place since. So that just may have died in the water. Unfortunately, I think it'd be fun, but you know. Let's see here. The Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night makes a cameo appearance in Jill Valentine's ending in Marvel vs. Capcom 3: Fate of Two Worlds and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night appeared as an unlockable playable character in the Marvel Superhero Squad Online. And last fun fact, the Jack Russell incarnation of Werewolf by Night appeared as an unlockable playable character in Marvel Avengers Academy. He could be first recruited during the event Avengers Halloween Event 2017. You know, that was a pretty fun game. I'm sad to see it go. Alright. Now, we're moving on to my favorite part of the show, which is the power expansion. This is where I talk about, should they do a movie? Should they do a series? New comic book? Animated series? You know, the whole gambit. This one, I'm leaving alone because Disney Plus is going to be doing a Halloween special. So, we'll see it we'll see it sooner than later. And I don't wanna delve into it. I don't want to step on toes because I don't think it's fair, and I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. But I am looking forward to it. I encourage everyone to look up Werewolf by Night. Like, I mean, it's just kind of a cool character. He didn't have to do some of the stuff he did. You know, he's never been a big name, but man, he fights everyone. He goes in there and just fights. And I like the struggles that he has with controlling his powers. And then when he finally controls them, he still can't do it during the full moon. So, you know, it's kind of cool. But what do you guys think of this? What do you think of this character? Let me know. Like I said, you catch me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram under Super Deep Dive, and use the hashtag superherodeepdive. I post superhero memes throughout the week. If you're watching on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, share. I am open with any kind of questions, comments, critiques, fun facts I may have missed, requests for future episodes, all that good stuff. I've actually got one that someone requested before for Static Shock, which should be coming in, I think, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So we'll put that on the calendar. So yeah. In the meantime, guys, I'm gonna head out because this took longer than I thought it would, but it was such a thick, rich history. I couldn't leave stuff out. So in the meantime, guys, until next week, everyone be good, be blessed, be happy, be smart, and if you're not smart, don't get caught. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.